here, which you've got to give respect, is Remco. So when he moves to the front, and if you found an opportunity, we don't know what his plan is, how they're going to open up the race, whether they're going to do something completely on field or whether they have a plan. That's something that is completely unknown. I think it's a really interesting addition to the mix.
Yeah.
But you do not want to give Remco at any point in the race too much daylight.
No, and also with the wind how it is today as well, you know, you go up this climb, they've obviously got a crosswind at the minute up here, but you go onto the top of it, you turn right, exit left at the top of this, either one, you're going to either go into a headwind or a crosswind, and after that, that'll string the group out massively leading into the next climb, so you really need not to give him too much pace. As Matt said, you don't know if he's going to go on the attack, or if a small group all of a sudden, 10, 15, 20 riders goes off the front, that'll be a perfect position for him, especially if he's got teammates around him now like he does have.
Quick Step making an appearance on the front. We haven't seen too much of the Wolfpack, have we, of late? They've got an extraordinary record in this race, of course, having won it 8 times, most of any other team in this in the race's history. But well, last year their best was their worst ever. Finished 38th. Their best place finisher was 38th, Yves Lampard.
I think there's a bike change here on the left-hand side, because Cosnefroy, I thought I saw a bike. Yeah, so Benoit Cosnefroy there from UAE was on the left-hand side. He must have crashed, must be getting back on, but
it was just hit behind him.
Yeah, strange place to
I did glimpse of his bike was actually just laid down, wasn't it?
Cosnefroy, the UAE Team Emirates.
Problem here for Swift
this year.
Connor.
Connor Swift, of course, part of the breakaway.
Crashed. His jersey's right undone.
He's already dealing with some sort of costume issue.
I think he's got a problem with his radio. Oh, he has. Oh, that's nasty.
Dear.
Right.
That was all caused by a lack of concentration, really, as he was trying to fix that issue with his radio. So frustration there for Connor Swift.
He's caught on death ridge. That little bit of ridge with one hand on the bar. Down he went, but I think it must have had a problem with his radio because his jersey looks ripped open prior to that as well.
Oh, I hope he's okay, but he got back up pretty sharpish there.
Yeah, he did, yeah. Fastest I've seen in a while, that.
That was a quick remount.
Yeah.
Well, he's teaked up, isn't he? A really strong rider, Connor Swift. Made the break in Strade Bianche, remember, last year as well with Tadej Pogačar, didn't he? And he might have thought this is not a bad break to be in, and he showed great powers of endurance on that occasion. But, well, he'll be able to ride back up to his breakaway companions. One would expect that he ought to be able to, given how quickly he managed to get back up.
There's a big fight here, there, just at the back behind Van der Poel. Little blue dots. I think it was Sheffield and one of the Alpecin riders really headbutted into each other there.
Yeah, you can feel this race is... It's on the back burner, but it's starting to simmer. The lid's just starting to rattle ever so slightly, isn't it? You can just feel the tension starting. It's getting. This race is always serious, but you can just see things are starting to warm up nicely now, and there's going to be some riders starting to struggle.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the back of this peloton here, the sprint that these riders will be doing just to keep up, as we see the NSM riders, number 105.
Tricked, yeah.
Stopping for a bike change by the looks finger or a spare wheel. Can't take a bike by the side of the road anymore, can you?
Lars van Trick, one of 44 race debutants in this event today. Several race debutants in this group up front. As Connor Swift, these images recorded a little earlier on, and he's racing to make his way back up and into that one. Meanwhile, Remco Evenepoel, so far, positioning has not been a problem.
No, he's looked good. Yeah, he's looking pretty calm there. He's been looked after really well so far. Again, there's been a few... The thing for me is that the fact that Alpecin de Koning haven't really been involved. I think maybe because I'm wondering if it's because Dillier's in front or they got a little bit of a plan later on. They've been just waiting patiently, haven't they? But they've not used much resource at all. Where we've seen Red Bull use resource, Visma Lease bike use resource, Little Trek not so much.
No.
And obviously UAE have been doing most of the riding so far. But that's quite another small detail that's quite interesting.
Yeah, I'll counter that with Van der Poel. I think just the way that he is, that he can move up, that the team are all around him, but they're having to make these micro efforts to try and jump up the stats. So even though we don't see him on the front, what they're doing with Van der Poel isn't easy. It's just stop, start, getting stuck, going back up again. And for Van der Poel, it'll be a lot easier for him to make these little adjustments up and down the peloton. But for his teammates, it can hurt.
Yeah.
Take command, Morgado, by the looks of things, as they arrive onto the Hall of Egg, and a little look around to survey the scene. It's situation comfortable at the moment for Remco Evenepoel. Tadej Pogacar back in the pocket at the moment.
This is very much what I was talking about with Remco. Just that little shot there. I know it's not the crucial point, but just when he's on the cobbles there, he's got a vision in front of him and a line where he can see exactly what's where, and he's not tucked right in on the wheel behind him. And it's not a lot, Declan, Matt. It's tiny, but he's tucked in now. But there's these points where he can really just afford to sit on the wheel a little bit more, and I think it's just through stress.
He's off the wheel there again.
If you can see him, then he must be in the wind, I suppose, is the...
Comparatively speaking, it is a real minor detail, but although he lives around here, he's been training on these roads, as we've said, at the risk of sounding like a broken record, he's never raced this race, and it is a completely different experience, riding at the speeds with the additional stress. He's a rider we know. He's of utter class, but this is a completely unique experience for him in a race scenario.
Another race debutant, albeit a man who, for this event is very much in his blood, isn't he? He's a cyclocross specialist, and really looking forward to actually getting involved in this particular event. 32-year-old making his race debut.
Van der Poel towards the front with his three teammates, so they waited patiently and eventually moved up. So not done a tap on the front, but they have had to make this sort of long, drawn-out effort for quite a while to make sure they're at the front, and now they're there, it'll be hard to get rid of them.
I think all the talk about positioning and the importance of being close to the front at all the right moments, that maybe Remco is sort of over-egging the pudding a little bit. He's overcompensating, and that he might be better advised to take his cue from what Pogacar and Mathieu van der Poel and others are doing.
Yeah, I mean, it's always one thing knowing where your big rivals are, and I think for him, he'll be able to see where they are, he'll know where they are, but his teammates will ultimately look after him doing that job as well. They'll take the responsibility for him, say, look, we need to be at the front now, let's move up, or this is where in 5k's times we need to be there, so let's get to the front, stay towards the front, and he'll take that on and just rely on them to do so. And Remco, I think being the ultimate professional that he is, he'll know where. We got our first move of the day.
Well, first attack out of the main peloton, just a mere 4 minutes and 37 seconds to jog across, but why not invest early? And with the 113 kilometers to go, it isn't that early, is it, in terms of the way that this has been played by the riders in recent years? And yeah, attack is the best form of defense, an immediate reaction coming from behind. As
big one that's missing here, Declan, is UAE. You've got Laporte there from Visma, you've got an Alpecin rider there, Red Bull there, Lidl Trek there, and there's Alpecin. I think it's for Mears just behind Sheffield on Ineos Grenadiers as an AG2R rider, and then UAE. But you can just see Van der Poel in that group. Was that?
It's pithy as well, just moving up.
I think Van der Poel has just gone across a little gap here. You see the split with the Red Bull? I think Van der Poel was just in that group. So as we said, picking your moment to be at the front, making it easier for yourself after investing a few pennies, and that's what he's doing. I think that's him. Right at the back of this group.
Yeah, looks like Ed Plancart is there as well. He's not doing any turns. Plancart in the blue there, the white helmet, just swung onto the back of this group, being led by Christophe Laporte. There's a small gap has opened up, as you said, about 15, 16 riders, but it does look like that's going to be sewn back together. But again, you know, other we talk about the big teams, the big riders dominating this race, but you just never know when one of these splits is going to form. Other teams are here. Other teams know that if they're going to stand any chance of getting a rider, let's say in the top 10, which for some teams is a massive result in the Tour of Flanders, you've got to take a risk, you've got to gamble, go on the front foot, go early, and you just never know. You don't want to ride anonymously, and that's good to see other teams, Groupama FDJ, getting in the mix as well.
Let's see how things are going for riders down towards the back. Bit of an outsider, dark horse for many, Per Strand Hagenes. At the back of the peloton, has he got a technical issue?
Yeah. I think a little bit of punch here. So it was Van der Poel in that little front group there, and Red Bull riding it back on, but this has opened up the doors now. And we spoke about anticipation. Normally we got this with, what, 80k, 70k's to go. Now it's happening at 112 to go. That's Stan de Wolf on the front trying to open things up.
And Sheffield on his wheel.
Yeah, this is the part where you asked earlier, Declan, does it get easier to move up? For the guys that start to suffer, it's easier to hold a position. To move up, yes, it's harder because the race is now on and it's open.
Still 4 minutes of an advantage for the riders, and that's Connor Swift just trying to make his way back up into the break. Great effort. Yeah.
Because he jumped on his original. Did he get a spare bike? Look at the big chunk that's been taken out of his elbow and on his thigh there.
And now Laporte is the next one to invest. Wants to keep the hammer down, wants to keep the chain tight. Well, doesn't want to allow others to recover. Well, let's keep these and see if, Magny's decided that this might be worth it. So a little bit of a French entente cordiale between these two riders to try and, well, if not force a split, at least make it as challenging and as difficult for others, because they're clearly happy with their situation. Wow.
Job
A little
done.
bit of generosity there. Just, that's the end of me. Why don't you? Dries de Bont getting a little bit of a handsling to maintain an interest in this race. August Pellet BH rider.
Just all these activities. Look at the gap now. 112 k's to go. Okay. A minute has been taken off from minute 10, just in the last sort of 10 kilometres because of all these flurries of activity off the front. No concerted chase by any one team, just aggression now as teams really start to think about the next phase of the race and taking an opportunity.
One team that are really trying to control things by the looks of it is Red Bull, though. Only following moves, but following them without a jump. They're really riding across the road. I think they don't want to get too far up the road. They want all riders around Remco. They want it together so they can ride as a unit, position it well, and just drive at pace. So it looks like they are really trying to just keep this tight and as hard as possible without just letting the gap go.
You do wonder whether they want to think they've got a plan.
Yeah.
The way they're like dragging these little moves back, you do wonder. I'm not wondering that they will have a plan. They're not going to go into this race with just see how you can do, Remco. He said at the start when asked, "Do you think you can win this race?" And yes, I do. It's Remco Evenepoel, for crying out loud. It's his debut, but he is a rider. If he did win this, we shouldn't really be that surprised, should we?
No.
So they've obviously come in with a plan, and it's a small detail, but the way they are, these bringing things back, suggests that they might try something a little bit interesting. Maybe even audacious, let's see. But it's calmed down again. We've gone back into a little bit of a headwind as Magnier looks around. But yeah, interesting stuff from Red Bull Bora-Hansgrohe.
Yeah, race winning debutants is rare as hen's teeth. There hasn't been one for a long, long time. However, in the last 10 years, two Danish riders managed to finish second on their debuts, Mats Pedersen and Kasper Asgreen. Asgreen's gone on to win the race, so it can be done to be up front very early on in your Tour of Flanders career. And the attacks, what's going to happen in the break, by the way? Are we going to see maybe a little bit less aggression or investment from the likes of Sylvain Dillier, Connor Swift?
No, I doubt it, really. I think they'll just keep trucking through and doing what they have been doing. I think if one of their teammates were to get in a breakaway with a move off the front, they'd probably back off a little bit. But for now, just keep doing as they're doing, keep rolling through. They've got that strength in numbers. As we see the peloton start to just calm a little bit, let their leaders get back into position. We've not seen Van Aert at the front for a little bit. We've seen a couple of Visma riders, but this is a point now where if you can move up, you should move up, but as you can see, it's difficult because the whole road is taken over by riders just going easy. You can see riders on the grass. The Astana rider closest to us, Laporte on the grass as well.
Tomasz Kopecky is the latest to try his luck out of the front of the peloton. A rare throttling back of the pace offers him an opportunity. One of the two Kopecky brothers in the Unibet Rose Rocket squad. He's the elder of the two, 25 years of age.
Yeah, good little move. Why not?
And problems once again.
Abramson, there shouldn't have too much of a problem getting on. But
another outsider, perhaps, for a good result in this race, Jonas Abrahamsson.
Oh yeah, he is one of those. I think you were quite right, Declan. He's one of those riders that if we were to see a surprise and it was him that took this somehow, it wouldn't be a surprise. He is one of those riders that has got the capacity one day to win a bike race like this. Definitely not a nailed-on favourite, but if we were to have a bizarre ending to this race, you never know, he could be up there.
Rob Hatch popped out for a coffee and one of those extraordinary gels that none of us are ever going to have again. But when you departed, Rob, it was all very cool, calm and collected and formulaic, and it's all gone a bit Tour of Flanders style since then. It's getting interesting. We're hitting the cobbles, we're hitting the bergs, and the sort of yo-yoing, the concertina effect of this peloton stretching and compressing again is starting to take effect.
Tell me about it. What have you done to the race? It's an incredible watch. And there's still 109 kilometres to go. We're getting to the meaty part of it now. 3 minutes 58, as you can see. We hear from Declan in a little later on. Kergata, latest cobbled sector. Jagere comes next. Then it continues, and we've already seen one of the big fights, haven't we, for position there, that left turn towards the Eckenberg. Well, another famous left turn is a few kilometres down the road, the Molenberg.
This is what we're going to get used to. I mean, when you look at the route map of the Tour of Flanders, if you've not seen it, you're just watching the figures, fire it up online, have a look at it. It's like a bowl of spaghetti. Constant change of direction. You've got to be on it. Robin McEwen knows it, this area like the back of his hand, but it's a fascinating course. But there's so many points on this race where you've got to be attentive. But yeah, another key moment, one of many coming up, Rob.
Oh, we saw that move there on the Eckenberg. Robbie was watching, he rejoins us now. And of course he knows that run in after these cobble sectors that will come into the municipality of Zwolle. Famous for its wind and water mills, and of course it's Jolindora country as well, isn't it? Around there, in towards the Molenberg after that.
Yep, it's also Peter van Petegem country. He's a Brakel local, grew up there, won the Ronde van Vlaanderen twice. Connor Swift here with a shoe change. Not surprising there's been damage to the boot from that crash, and I know that the guys just commented on the damage also to his elbow and he's just under his hip and his haunches there. It's the type of race, the terrain that we've got here. Oh, I hope that stays on for him. He doesn't lose a shoe now. It just can jump out and bite you at any time. We saw Connor Swift just sort of come around a quite innocuous bend, but where the cobbles just sit slightly above the concrete that's next to it, and if you just get on that a bit awkwardly, completely just lose the front wheel, and it was a nasty crash he had. So he's got a real battle on his hands. He's rejoined, but the other battle, this in the peloton for constant positioning, has really taken off. I've got to say, Remco Evenepoel and his team have been doing an exceptional job at just that, positioning perfectly.
Yeah, they're not taking a chance. They've got Jan Tratnik on the front now, just bringing back Kopecky, 3 minutes and 41. So slowly but surely, given the activity behind, the gap is starting to crumble to the leaders. But yeah, I'm actually very impressed by what this team have done so far. They're not taking any chances, and I wouldn't say they're exactly stamping their authority on their race, but they're here to be reckoned with, and it's great. It gives us a really distinct added dimension to this whole process of this race. It's fantastic.
It's that Remco confidence personified, isn't it? Standing there toe-to-toe, they mean business. We've seen him looking business-like. There haven't been sort of smiles and, like you might see from a Van der Poel hanging around at the back. Evenepoel looks focused, doesn't he?
Different type of confidence, if you ask me. It's one where they're very confident in his physical ability, in his ability to go all day really hard and be able to go with anybody, or if in fact not, drop them. But not so much confidence in, let's just let the race develop and he'll hold his own and be able to battle for position. It reminds me in a certain way of the way the Rabobank team that I was in back in the 90s rode for Rolf Sørensen in Paris-Roubaix. He won Flanders the week before, was leading the World Cup, got to Roubaix, he said, I don't really want to get in the mix and the battle. Let's just as a team get on the front and ride like a team time trial. Process of elimination, the race will get hard enough, riders will fall by the wayside, and then I'm in it. And he made the top 10 defenders that jersey. It seems to me Remco's team is doing a similar sort of thing. Stay at the front, ride hard, lots of others will disappear, then they'll get tired, and Remco will hold his own a lot easier.
Crash for Arthur Klookers. National champion in Luxembourg, Klookers down.
Bitch.
And this is where it's going to get even more difficult now. We talked about the Molenberg coming up. We just saw the breakaway turn off onto that famous straight road. Ditches left and right. You've got the stream towards the Molenberg there as well. And this is another reason why, what you were hearing about there, this is where the crash happened, by the way. Should be somewhere on the right-hand side, top of the picture there. There's already an issue there for Klookers. Looks mechanical.
What if he's got a flat? He's got a puncture. He just didn't have it. And then he got clipped by somebody, and then he was in the ditch. But yeah, let's lost control.
Front tyre. Yeah, that's a front wheel puncture. He just was unable to steer whatsoever. If it's a rear wheel puncture, you can still turn.
Right then, time to switch on. Molenberg coming up. Comes around 12 kilometres earlier than it used to do in the Ronde. We've also just gone past those couple of cobbled sectors, Kergate, Jageren, for you older Ronde fans. That's where We used to see the Haarhoek and Leerberg combination. Now, of course, in the omloop at Nieuwsblad. Right then. At the front of the race, no issues there for that left turn over the almost Foldfitness bridge. Look at this behind, 3 minutes 42 behind to be precise. You've got the fight for that little bridge, the narrowing, the Molenberg. It's one of the images of the spring. It's one of the most fierce, difficult cobble sectors in the whole of Flanders. Just 463 metres, but look at that, 14%, and look at the state of the cobbles. But it's the turn before it that is the most dangerous here, and that is why Paulet has now raced to the front, and he wants that position for UAE.
Yeah, he's just nailed it on the front. He's got Vermeersch. Just look at the way Tadej Pogačar moving up the outside. He's slotting into the wheel of Remco Evenepoel. This is where you need a lot of heft. This is where you need riders like Paulet. That pinch point, when you're just 10, 11, 12 riders back, you're losing so much momentum. It's going to line out as riders are sprinting full pelt up the climb. Other riders are breaking into that one. There's such a narrow pinch point. It's like going up somebody's backyard.
Jan Saimbayer, the first Mongolian ever to ride the Ronde van Vlaanderen, at the top of the Molenberg just being dropped. But look at the splits here already on the way into that big 90-degree turn. A lot of yellow jerseys down the back, sorry Robbie, but look who's desperately trying to move up. Right hand side of the picture now, whitish helmet on, it's Wout van Aert, who's a long way back.
Yes.
Yeah, that's been his Achilles heel over the last couple of seasons, and a lot of people have been talking about it, his inability to stay at the front when things are getting rough. He tends to just have a touch of the brakes and back off before others do, and he gets shuffled backwards quite often, where the main competitors for him are all at the front. Pogačar here, Remco Evenepoel right near here, Mathieu van der Poel just a little further back. The good thing for these riders on the Molenberg compared to what it was in Omloop Nieuwsblad is it's dry. It doesn't have that really slimy mud on it today, but nonetheless it can still be a point where we could see a really big split or multiple splits in this peloton.
Just the way that Paulet's riding here, he's putting it in the guts. There's riders swinging out the line already. This is like an echelon. Echelons make start to form on this bit of road. 3 riders wide, Vermeersch on second wheel, and just on the inside with Remco Evenepoel on his wheel, this Tadej Pogačar. Super riding. A lot of riders under pressure. Gaps opening here, Rob.
And look all the way down. Only here you'll find Wout van Aert, 50th, 60th position. 2 teammates with him. It's not quite panic stations yet, but the alarms are sounding in the distance. Mars Pedersen as well having to move up. They've done a really good job of getting van Aert into towards the first 30, 40 positions now, and he might get to the first 20 or even just inside that before the left turn itself.
Cost himself energy, but using teammates as well, so he's going to have riders from his team go overboard after the effort that's been required to just get to the front of the race. Here comes the corner now. You see them setting up, spreading across the road and looking to dive into the Molenberg.
Wout van Aert with a great rescue job with his team into the top 20, left-hand turn, that 90 degrees over that famous little cobble bridge where the road narrows, and then it's onto the steepest section. They twist and turn onto some of the roughest cobbles you will find in the whole of Flanders. It's the Molenberg. It's hill number 4 of this Ronde van Vlaanderen, and it's heating up because Tadej Pogačar, Mathieu van der Poel, Remco Evenepoel and Wout van Aert are all in the first 15 riders.
And it's the British champion in second wheel. Great riding by Sam Watson on the wheel of Florian Vermeersch. It was wet back in head Nieuwsblad. It's dry today. The gaps are starting to really open up, but it's a who's who of pro cycling. The top end of pro cycling. There's a split already. You can just see trying to get across the gap as Matteo Trentin, the wily old fox, also there in the mix too.
It's Mars Pedersen who's lost the wheel. Pedersen, who's the one had to let go. There's a rider in between in the gap from Bahrain victorious. Wout van Aert in that group led by Mars Pedersen. The good news for them, you get over the Molenberg, out onto open roads, a little bit of crosswind, tailwind over the top. And then the next couple of climbs, both asphalt, bigger roads, there's time to sort of reconsolidate, catch up. There's not a lot of tricky stuff coming up. No cobbles for quite a bit now.
Just keep an eye on this. As you said, climbs coming, don't have any cobbles. Molenberg a key feature. And this, when I was thinking in the last few days, and we thought about the April Fool, we thought it was an April Fool, that left turn was something that I had fixed in my head. I thought, oh, Remco's not going to be good here. I'll tell you what, he's done a tremendous job.
He's impressed. I think he's impressed everybody. I think there'll be a few, maybe not raised eyebrows, but I just think fair play. He's come into this, he's reconned it. And I actually think that the way that he's ridden the opening part of the season suggests there's been more of a focus than we realised physically, and the way he's raced. He's looking very good. His team, and I think another small detail about the way Remco's riding now, still 100k to go, still a long way to go in this bike race. The confidence of riding near Mathieu, near Tadej on this sort of ground is going to only help Remo in terms
on
of
the wheel.
Yeah, he's looking good. He's floating, man. He's absolutely floating right now. And look at the devastation behind.
You've got Pogacar riding now, taking turns on the front with 101 kilometres to go. On his wheel, now coming through and doing the same with wind blowing from the side, is Mathieu van der Poel, Remco Evenepoel, and we said alarm bells be ringing in the distance. They are now sounding at full pelt, because if you miss it here in this wide, open, exposed row, Robin McEwen, you may not see the front of the race again.
You may not, and even if you do, it's going to cost you a whole lot of energy to get there. There's teammates here for Pogacar, for Remco Evenepoel. There are plenty of looking around up in this group as well to assess what the damage is, and Pogacar doing his bit to keep things rolling. He'd like this race to remain hard, keep everybody in the red zone.
Pogacar has Florian Vermeers with him. Remco Evenepoel is right next to Van Dekers. They go past the Flying Dutchman pub, home to the Van der Poel fan club. He's in there with a teammate as well. Wout van Aert has a man in there too. Mars Pedersen just on the back. I'm looking around, there's another teammate for Remco Evenepoel. That looks to be Gianni Vermeers. A couple of riders from Decathlon in there. Matej Mohoric has made it. Matteo Trentin. Teammate there in the yellow jersey 4 is Christophe Laporte. And looking back, there's a rider from Soudal Quickstep as well. Looks like it's Stuyven.
It's Jesper Stuyven, yeah.
And these are the riders who are in deep doo-doo behind out in the field. That's Riley Sheehan with a very good save there.
That was a very good save by Sheehan, keeping it upright. Totally agricultural, but this is a good Magnus Sheffield now on the front. A little bit of looking round now after that big surge in the crosswind. The riders here establishing who is here. Basically, we have all of the pre-race favourites, and even second-tier favourites. This is basically the cream rising to the top, still with 100 kilometres to go.
Sam Watson and Sheffield are the two Ineos Grenadiers. By the way, one of the Decathlon riders is Stander Wolf, and we're on our way now to the Marlborough Straat.
We're on it. We're on the Marlborough Straat, and they are smoking up it.
That's a light start. Nobody yet going into the red.
This is the way the race is unfolding at the moment. We keep talking about Remco. We should, because this is his debut. He's ridden great. He's got two teammates with him for company. This now really, if this group does start to move clear, and they're at 6s and 7s, all of the big teams are represented in the front, you know, including Soudal Quickstep with Stuyven in there. You wonder where the chase is going to come. They are riding. This is ideal. This is what Remco would have wanted, to split a selection so deep into this now. A lot of the traces that we've seen earlier in the race aren't going to be there, because we've got a group that's controllable. You can find position. It's just, Remco is going to be very, very happy with the current situation.
Mohoric, the man from Bahrain. Trentin does have a teammate in here. A little further back, you can see Sheffield in the orange. Stander Wolf, we mentioned, Jasper Stuyven, Florian Vermeers. Gianni Vermeers as well, a little further back.
There's also Decathlon CMA CGA rider in the mix, just towards the back.
Stander Wolf.
Stander Wolf, sorry, yeah.
Stander Wolf, there he is, third from the back.
I think that might be Mozzato, who's the other Tudor rider in the here, second in this race a couple of seasons ago.
And maybe some help for Mars Pedersen could be along in the shape of Matthias Vacek. He's the Czech champion. He has Vito Braat with him in the red jersey there. This is the rest of the group behind.
Yeah, where's the chase going to come from here? You do wonder. EF Education Easy Post have no representation, hence them trying to punt somebody across. Q36.5, Pinarello on the front there, but no.
Lopet Nieuwsblad winner now. Is that Dylan van Baarle? Rider off the front in his style there from Soudal Quickstep, trying to make it across. It's a big ass though, isn't it?
Yeah, he's got that distinctive silhouette on a bike. Back to the head of the race. Almost forgot about these riders, still enjoying that lead of 2 minutes and 18 seconds. But so much has happened behind, and so much still yet to come. This is a great race. It really, really is. But what a selection we have just behind.
Well, there may not be many cobbles in the next few kilometres. They're already on the downhill into Michelbeke, which brings them onto the foot of the Berendries. Then it's another fast downhill into Brakel, the Valkenburg, and another asphalt climb, very, very steep. So it's a very difficult part of the course, particularly if you're trying to cross a gap like we saw Vulgren and others trying to do out of what's left of the peloton that was shed on the Molenberg.
I think it's Rick Bloimers, the other rider in there, just to confirm the other rider from Tudor. Looks like it's Rick Bloimers.
Solid rider, the Netherlander from Tudor Pro Cycling. Talking over 20, nearly 30 seconds back to the other group now. This is Vatsek and Braat who are caught in the middle. And they're on the way to the Berendries, which is not a nice hill to ride up if you're having to play catch-up. Lead of the race, coming into Michiel Becker. And this is the Berendries now. Rises up. Remember Frederik Bakkert, the old rider from Wanty? Well, his farm's right at the foot of that climb. The family farm's still there. Well, no time to go and say hello, even if he's standing there enjoying the now retired rider from Flanders. The Berendries today is packed, and they've come to see the world's best. The world's best are here, 2 minutes behind the breakaway. They're led by the world champion Tadej Pogačar. The joint record holder here, the winner, Mathieu van der Poel. The new challenger and debutant Remco Evenepoel, and the Flemish hero Wout van Aert. Also in there, Vermeers, Gogol, Mohoric, De Wolf and Sheffield. Listed to Sturven, Vermeers, that's Gianni, Tim van Dijk, and of course Sam Watson, who's the British champion in form, with Tim van Dijk in there as well.
Yeah, good to see the British champion. They got himself to a really good position just on the approach to the climb rate split. It's also great to see Matej Mohoric coming back to some form after, let's be honest, a couple of different difficult seasons. This is that little group that Vulgren has managed to get across, but it's XDS Astana doing the chasing behind, and they're looking like they're going to sew this one back together. But blocking already from Visma Lease Bike, unsurprisingly from Little Trek, also from Ineos Grenadier. So you do wonder where the firepower is going to come to bring this counter-attack back.
Well, there's going to be a number of attempts from that Vulgren-led half peloton to try and go across on the Berendries. In front, what I've noticed every time we've come back to that group of Pogačar, he's on the front doing plenty of work, while there's a whole heap of them really indifferent to doing any sort of work. I mean, they're gasping for air, they're drinking, they're eating, they're trying to conserve. Wout van Aert hasn't come away from the last 3 positions in that group. Laporte's done a couple of turns, but Van Aert is conspicuous by his absence at the front, and Pogačar's been doing plenty at the front.
Chasing group approaching the Berendries then. First climbed in the Ronde back in 1984. They get past Saint-Bayard. And it's Van Dijk, Tim van Dijk here at the front. We think 17 riders in this group.
That's a really solid group of riders that Van Dijk are moving through to the front. There is a few riders just not doing too much, but can you really blame them with the amount of superstars that are here? Okay, roll through, but you don't want to do too much. Yeah, this is a who's who split, isn't it? It really is. There's nobody missing. Basically, everybody who we thought could win this bike race, even the second or third tier outsiders, are here in the mix. This is fantastic.
40 seconds of a gap now for this group on the rest of the peloton. If it wasn't serious before, it certainly is now. And this race situation suits the man who's sitting second wheel.
Totally.
He's got out of all the chaos that we were all worried on his behalf about, and he now has the chance to make his own race. Remco Evenepoel is on debut in Flanders, and it's opening up exactly how he'd love it to.
It certainly is. Kasper Asgreen, former winner of this race. And we've talked about possibility of riders trying to get across on the Berendries, because there will be no organised chase. And for Remco Evenepoel, this is panning out. We spoke about this a few hours ago. Ideal for him is a race of attrition, not many left over, and becomes a physical battle rather than one of experience in the Tour of Flanders. And it's going really well for Remco.
A good bit of riding here by Kasper Asgreen, but he's just trying to split it. Looks like he's aiming to Ghent on his wheel. But he's taken back at the best part of 10-15 seconds. But Van Dijk happy to take it over the top. Slightly more measured pace as he leaves this superstar group of 17 riders. So many monument winners amongst the number.
They'll look look up at the surroundings there from Evenepoel. And to the right of the summit of this, by the way, lies a climb they used to ride up in the 60s, the Kasteldreef. It's a climb now used to descent from the Berenderies, leading towards Brakel that Robbie will know very well. It's one of the fastest in the Ronde van Vlaanderen. That, by the way, in terms of quick things, is now just a less than 30-second gap between the lead, or the lead group of attackers, plus this peloton. Now, quick breather to try and take in everything we've just seen in the last few minutes. See you in a moment.
TNT Sports coverage of men's cycling is sponsored by Service Now.
My favourite is Game of Thrones.
Which characters do you like?
Well, that's the thing, you couldn't like too many because they're going to get their head cut off.
With Funding Circle, you're part of something bigger. We are team.
My staff, they're my starting lineup.
We are grit.
We've taken hit.
Final spot available in the semi-finals of the FA Cup. West Ham versus Leeds today at 3:30 on TNT. We'll join Chelsea, Southampton and Manchester City on their way to Wembley. The bunch of the Ronde van Vlaanderen are on their way to Oudenaarde, the holy city of Flemish cycling in the last few years. It's the finish of the Tour of Flanders. We've got quite the move out there at the front. This is the peloton at 2 minutes 22 from the front of the race. But look at that. Group 2 at 1:37. They are over 40 seconds in front. And it's not just any old group. To talk you through the next little while with Tadej Pogacar, Mathieu van der Poel, Remco Evenepoel and Wout van Aert in that chasing group. It's Declan Quigley to join them.
Cheers, Rob. Go and get a quick coffee because this is blinking, you'll miss it stuff. It's definitely changed a bit in the last little while, hasn't it? And remarkable to see just how much investment there is from Tadej Pogacar in this one. He really wants to press on, as indeed does Mathieu van der Poel, as indeed does pretty much every rider in this counter-attacking group out of the main peloton, putting further and further of daylight between themselves and the likes of Casper Asgreen. It's a brave resistance, but is it going to be a futile one? Because this is a real heavy-hitting group of 17 riders now chasing the remaining 12 riders. We lost one from our initial early break. John Bolaints has been jettisoned, but still 12 up front and still have a handy advantage, albeit that's shrinking fast. And the weather conditions, well, it's... the weather's closing in here, and it is going to be particularly challenging. And remember, we've got the likes of the Koppenberg to come, but we've got all the main riders that we need to think about here. Mads Pedersen won't be afraid of a little bit of rain.
Well, those weather conditions really have now taken another turn for the worse, and the forecast is that this rain shower is going to stay over this entire area for at least the next hour. So that's going to be enough of a soaking to keep every cobbled section wet. And we saw the social media posts throughout the week on Thursday, on Recon Day, how slippery and treacherous the Koppenberg was. And Remco Evenepoel, the only man that was filmed able to make it from bottom to top without clicking out of the pedals and walking. So this is just another whole layer of difficulty has just been added to this race.
It's a literal layer, Robbie, isn't it? It's a layer of wet, isn't it? It's a literal layer. This is the 17 rider chasing group who are really eating into that lead, aren't they? But everybody riding well. Mads Pedersen, look at the state of the roads up in front. As you say, the Koppenberg is going to be the most vicious climb. Of all the climbs left, I think it's fair to say, Robbie, it's the Koppenberg. They're going to be, all the climbs are going to be affected, but it's the Koppenberg because of its gradient, the angular cobbles. The traction's going to be very difficult in these conditions.
Well, the next one we've got is the
steepest, the
Valkenburg.
longest, the slipperiest. Yeah.
Apologies, Robbie. I think that was, in fairness, your shout. But the Valkenburg's coming up, which was once upon a time part of the Tour of France for a long, long time indeed, a cobbled climb, and then they pulled it out of the race. They resurfaced it because, I mean, who needs a cobbled road in these day and ages? And then it eventually was sort of reintroduced back into the route. This is particularly steep, though, as we head our way through Brakel. No time to stop and have one of those peculiar little pastries that are so popular around. 25 years of age in the company of Matteo Trentin, 36 years. Merge from that little April shower.
Which characters you like?
Well, that's the thing, you couldn't like too many because they're going to get their head cut off.
We're live and uninterrupted through to the conclusion of Ronde van Vlaanderen 2026. It's hotting up nicely with this power-packed chase group now within 22 seconds of reaching the front of this bike race. And while they've emerged out into the April on the group of favourites, and you would wonder whether they're going to be able to get back into contention, and it's looking increasingly difficult for them.
It is, and you can just see how much respect everyone's treating every corner with now, with that recent heavy shower that went across everything. It should be okay. They get plenty of rain around here, but also being such a rural area, so many farm vehicles, tractors spreading dirt, you never know you're going to come around the corner. There's a big line of mud across the road, and especially when it's been dry for a couple of days, it rains again, you're always just a little bit standoffish about tipping it into the corners, and everybody just scrubbing off that little bit of extra speed and making sure they got full rubber contact with the road. But everyone working pretty well in this group, except I've seen Muzz Pedersen playing it pretty smart. We saw he was the one who let the wheel.
And see, the UEFA Champions League resumes on Tuesday, 7 p.m. on TNT1. Real Madrid versus Bayern. That's followed the following day, on Wednesday. We've got Paris Saint-Germain. That's live here on TNT1. To be made with the riders from the early break who've got a little bit of thinking to do, and for Connor Swift and for Sylvain Dillier, one or two others, perhaps a change in role, a change in what they can, well, I wonder what they can possibly offer really to this this group of favourites who are continuing to put further daylight between themselves and the group behind. They're all looking around now, trying to gather their thoughts, gather what energy they have left. Just think about what contribution they can continue to make to this race. For most in that breakaway group, they will just tag on the back and try and survive on the next climb coming up in the next few kilometres, the Berg ten Hout.
Here they are now.
Swift, they'll try and help.
And it won't be the last time they'll be on this particular street in this Ronde van Vlaanderen. A little bit later on, they'll be up a little bit further as they approach the Taaienberg, which comes after the Koppenberg. It'll be the very next climb on the menu after that. So the race really centres around quite a small node from now on in, out to the older Quaremont, Paterberg, Koppenberg, around to the Taaienberg, which is just up the street from here, and then back around again.
Sean, I mean, would you eliminate the bunch at this point, or is it too early to call that?
Well, I think it's going to be difficult. We can see when we get some pictures of the front end of the peloton, there's riders, doing a little bit of a pull, but then you can see there's a lot of riders as well just wanting to follow here and not contributing. So, yeah, disadvantage. I don't think we're going to see the main part of the peloton getting back to the front end of the race from this point on.
Yeah, going to be tough for sure. It's now 28 riders at the front. Some of those with different levels of strength and fatigue accumulated to this point.
One slips out, just leaves a gap. You can really compromise the rest of your race. So I think there'll be quite the fight from those who have just joined up to make sure they get right to the front and don't get one of these riders who would understandably be fairly exhausted from their efforts so far. And those who have just been caught really want to try and start Berg ten Hout at the front and see if they can maintain a position at the head of this race.
Good news for Mathieu van der Poel for now, at any rate. He's one of those riders looking a little bit vulnerable in that group, was he, in terms of teammate availability? But he's at least got the assistance of Sylvain Dillier for a while, at any rate. Down at the back at the moment, Sam Watson, the British National Road Race champion. Sam Welsford is among the list of abandons, by the way, but he can feel very content about the work that he did in positioning Sam Watson into a situation where he could develop his opportunity. Magnus Sheffield there as well, and now Connor Swift available to support his thoughts. And it's Dillier from the early break who is happy enough to set the tempo on the front of this swelled, if you want to use that word, lead group.
Now, you see that happening already now with Evenepoel, Pogacar. They've moved past nearly all of the breaks. Still Van Dillier riding on the front because he knows he's got Mathieu van der Poel there. Mads Pedersen was trying to just make his way up on the right-hand side while Van Aert just behind him. But you see how many space to move yourself up, but the road will rise before.
Matej Mohoric about as a rider with the skills, the dexterity. A little shake of the head from
oh,
no,
bit of a laugh and a smile between Evenepoel and Vermeers.
Isn't he? Oh, no time to. Consider. Mathieu van der Poel down towards the back of the group at the moment. That's no doubt content and satisfied. Frederick Frisson at the very back of the group. Long day at the break for the Pinarello Q36.5 man. Watch with interest and fascination as we arrive onto the Berg. And this is going to be instructive. The questions being asked by the hill and your rivals around you.
It's so much slower onto the.
And no sound of white or. And no sound of white or. Mathieu just yet, keeping their powder dry as best they can. Takeaway specialist Vercouy has honoured the race and honoured his dad.
Oh, Evenepoel is making sure he's got every pressure and plenty of riders, including Sylvain Dillier, Victor Vercouy, going out the back of the group. Now it's just a bit of consolidation. Evenepoel swung away. Time for a feed. Pogacar, he's been doing responsibility for keeping it rolling.
Is that a sense of a little bit of hubris there, Sean? Is Pogacar doing too much, or is it about right?